Welcome everyone, this is Pilot Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at lasers and LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sanswinda
Hello.
and Krister.
Hello.
Hello everyone, are you all prepared for next week's update?
Well, when I started up my client Friday night, I saw a thing called River Hobbits blah 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 downloading, so it's close. The only thing I'm not looking very forward to is your third bullet point. So.
Yes, let's go into this matter. We do not have the patch notes yet, so I will be going through all those next week, though I did discuss most of these at one time or the other during the Bull Roarer builds. And
you're going over all of them or all of the most important ones?
The most important ones.
Just checking.
I am not promising to go over every single one of them, not after last time.
Totally fair.
Right. So for Update 37, we're expecting the following on the highlights list. First off, it's going to include River Hobbits, a new race on there, yes. And in fact, during Cordovan's stream, he showed us a sneak peek of the River Hobbit trailer that's going to be released in a couple of days.
Is it a double wide, I'm thinking? Probably. You'd imagine it was huge. Oh, you're talking about like a preview. I'm sorry.
I'm not too sure River Hobbits will require a double wide trailer. Yeah. Anyway, we of course will include the River Hobbit. Now, there are going to be 3 different packages in which they will be made available. You won't be able to get River Hobbits, it looks like, as a standalone item. They'll have 3 products. They said is as usual, a small, a medium size, a large one. So I'm going to call them the Brook Hobbits, the Creek Hobbits, and the River Hobbits.
Brook, Creek, and River Hobbits. I like that, actually.
Yes. So we'll see what the packages are that are available and how much they cost. I'm sure we'll go over that next week also and try to determine which would be the best one. I suspect that one of them is going to include Tuesday cosmetics that's going to be costing more than you want unless you're a real completionist and want everything.
I just hope they come up with an NPC Hobbit called the Babbling Brook Hobbit. They would be a perfect complement to the Nosy Hobbit.
Uh-huh.
I've had a lot of caffeine. I just want to warn you.
You had a lot of caffeine. All right. I have been warned on that matter. And in addition to the River Hobbits, they're also releasing a new housing neighborhood in Lindleby.
Yay!
So you'll have an opportunity in which to tour the housing and then buy some houses over there. Probably the best way to go there, or at least the fastest way, would probably be going to the housing broker house inside of Bree. Well, I suppose you could also head over to Lindleby because there will be an entrance to it in the back of there because it's an area that has been closed off for some time. And I think people have been speculating on the possibility of housing there for a long time. And yes, that is going to be our new neighborhood. It's going to be a relatively small neighborhood. It's not going to have as many houses as some of the other large ones, which had huge numbers of them. I think it's maybe a full-size neighborhood. It's just that fewer houses are taking up all the space. So that's our first bullet item. And their next thing, or on our second bullet item, they said that there will also be some class changes. There will be class changes to Bjornings and to Guardians. And our third item is the one that Krister is fearing, and that is the Stat Squish.
No. My fear is that they're going to switch our stats, but all of our enemies will still retain their full stats. So it'll be a semi-squish.
A semi
A
squish,
freak
as in we'll all
squish.
feel like a semi ran over us.
I feel like that's kind of the sentiment, honestly. Finally, is that a lot of people are like stat squish. Blah, blah, blah. You just last night when somebody's like, just look at your stats and just remember what it used to be like because it's about to change.
Yeah. All right. So yes, if you have 2 million in morale, don't expect to have 2 million in morale after you log in Tuesday afternoon, right?
Yeah. In fact, one of my fellow kinsmen, she plays a roomkeeper, and she said, with this adjustment, I'm going to lose 900,000 morale. And I'm like, okay, if you're a squishy saying that, what am I going to lose? But I'm going to be probably the most feeble member of the party at that point. Can somebody get the tank up here? They need to. He can't lift his shield.
Maybe they'll squish your shield too, so you won't have to worry about that.
Don't worry about it. We made it out of cardboard.
But we gave all the orcs crayons instead of spears, so don't worry. That would be nice.
Yeah, but then they just formed all the crayons into a gigantic crayon and turned it into a spear.
Okay, fine.
Right. Okay. Now, when we've reached the Crayola tribe of orcs, we will go into that. Yes. Now, the fourth item is that the sturdy steel keys and the Lalia loot boxes that you can get so that you could be able to use up your sturdy steel keys. Those will be deprecated and they'll no longer be available for purchase. That means you can no longer get those loot boxes from Lalia's Market, and you can no longer get the keys in the LOTRO store. So both of those items are being removed from the store. If you have any already, you'll still be able to use them, though of course if you have one but not the other, it's not going to be much in there. So this is going to be your last chance to get the final key. Is to balance them out, I guess, is probably the thing to say there, is to have your keys equal to your loot boxes so that you could use them all and not worry about them in the future. And that's it for what we're expecting in Update 37. Of course, there are all other things, all the other things that you expect in updates, all the miscellaneous changes and like that, which we will go over during next week's episode. So, anyone have any things that they wish to say concerning the update? I know Krister says he doesn't want to see the results of what it does to his stats.
Yeah, all joking aside on the crying about the stat squish, I think the main concern that people have is just the potential frustration of understanding that it's probably not going to be perfect upon implementation. So hopefully it's not perfect implementation in a way that benefits us instead of handicaps us. So I think the main concern is people are just hoping that the balance is there from the get-go and not feeling like it might be. So I think it's just
we're
speculation based on nothing, really.
So you're hoping then that any feedback provided on the stat squish to Standing Stone Games during the Wolverer build have been taken to heart and addressed properly.
Yeah, I have a feeling they haven't.
Well, yes, there's always something that they don't have time to do. I guess
but you hope it's on something insignificant and not your stats, though. But to make myself feel better, I went back and looked at some old screenshots because I remember I was really proud when I got to 44,000 morale. So there was a time before 2 million. So I just got to remember that we're going back to that time now. So.
Once upon a time.
And once again,
And once more into the breach. All right. Let's then go into what events we have coming up. We are currently in the Farmers Fair that started during this last week, and it is going to continue until September 6th. Also, we have coming next week a 25% crafting XP boost. So that'll be from the 24th through the 28th. And also, I did mention that we had the things in the notes, I did leave out one of the items in the release notes, and that is the fact that they're also introducing the Forester event, which is going to be the first of the crafting events. And the first round of the Forester event will run from August 25th through September 3rd. So that means it'll be starting next week. And it'll be running for about 10 days. So about somewhere around 8 to 10 days, somewhere in that range into the area. And the idea there is to run for about 10 days, then it'll be off for a couple weeks, then it'll run for a few days, and off for a couple weeks, and it'll go on and off, on and off, on and off. When they add additional crafting events, what they'll be doing is they'll be alternating the various events into it. So this is just the beginning, and they're starting with the Forester. I suppose soon after that we'll probably have one relating to prospecting or something like that, I guess. I suppose we'll find that out when update 38 starts to be introduced. But that will be for another time. So let's go and see what's on sale on the store this week. Sans, what's on sale this week?
Well, this week there is more wardrobe space available. So spaces 36 and 37 each offer 10 additional slots of wardrobe space. Worth checking out if your wardrobe space was previously maxed. Also, unleash your potential. You may get 30% off loot box keys, universal solvents, universal morale and power potions, and bead boosts now through August 24th. And there's a free weekly coupon, in all caps, for a free universal solvent with the coupon code SOLVENT. Once again, all caps, SOLVENT. And that is good through August 24th.
All right. Now, when they say loot box keys are on sale, does that include all loot box keys, or only the black steel key?
You know, I haven't checked, but if your things are unbalanced, this would be a good time to check before the 22nd.
Yes, because obviously if the sturdy
all these keys have to go.
Yes, all these
up.
keys have to go. Yes, they may be holding a last chance sale before the sturdy steel ones are taken off the market. And that concludes our sales for this week. So let's see what we did in gaming. Krister, what were you up to?
Well, last night we assembled the crew and went and did the festival quest, and then we did the featured instance. And in general, we had success. In fact, we got suspicious when we did the festival instance, and then we did the delving. It was Thader. We were getting kind of suspicious because Thader was going really easy. Because usually with when you do the tier 7, the beginning of that is just a complete nightmare. And then we realized that they had forgotten to use the gem, so it was at T1, so we had to start it again.
Hey, you could at least have gotten credit for the featured instance and the challenge.
That's true. But but we decided to redo it at that point. So, and then we had the appropriate suffering applied. So that was. But overall, a good night. We had fun, and the main topic of conversation was the stat squish, and people hoping that it wasn't too crazy once it was done. But I think everybody's just looking forward to see what's coming what's to come. So, and then been doing some Diablo 4 stuff, and I don't know what they did. They patched, and now the lag is, I think LOTRO's lag is awesome compared to Diablo. So that's been very frustrating.
Oh, no, no, no. How can a single player game have worse lag than a massive multiplayer game?
The main question is the persistent online aspect of Diablo. It's extremely frustrating because I know that is the modern day gaming default. But yeah, I agree with you. It's just with Diablo, it's just like, why isn't this a game I can just play standalone by myself? And also, it has a multiplayer aspect that I could connect to if I wanted to, but don't make it required, make it optional. But anyways, who knows? So that's, yeah, I agree. You captured my line. Why is this single player game? Well,
So you're making me happy that I didn't get Diablo 4.
Well, I'm frustrated with the latency right now and kind of the behavior. But I would, and this is dangerous, I admit, I would assume that they're going to address that. So that might impact the longevity of that game in my life. So if they don't address it, then I'm not going to be too interested in playing it going forward. But overall, it's been enjoyable for what Diablo is. It hits all my Diablo checkboxes. And then we're working on, we've had this kind of on again, off again pen and paper science fiction campaign we've done. And so I'm going to be running this adventure. And I've been working on it. And I think I've got a good kind of unique adventure idea, which is basically the characters wake up, they've been in stasis, they were captured by pirates, and they were sold to these gladiatorial combat aliens who live in a hollow sphere. And basically within this sphere's volume is their gladiatorial combat thing where they have a bunch of stuff going on. Well, this is the I think I might have mentioned this character before in the past, but this is the 3-inch tall caterpillar alien I'm playing. Is my character in this game, and so they've managed to free the characters, and they've freed everybody in this prison or this gladiator place to escape it, and they've done it by unfortunately sabotaging this wormhole that's in the center of the empty sphere. And so the adventure is them racing from where their ship was through that wormhole before the entire structure collapses in on them, while fighting the gladiators, the guards, and their fellow prisoners to escape. So I'm hoping it's going to be a roiling, super mega space combat, crazy continents disintegrating as everything is collapsing into this singularity at the center.
Oh, I am just afraid to look at your character sheet on this one because it sounds really, really complicated.
I'm loving this character because usually I play these big, gigantic, idiot warriors.
Right.
And this character is a 3-inch tall caterpillar who has no physical presence whatsoever. He can't do anything. So he has to use his mouth and his mind, basically. So that's been fun from that perspective. But yeah.
Yeah, your list of advantages and disadvantages is going to go through the roof.
Yeah. Can do nothing. How much does that get me?
Does that get you? Yes.
But yeah, that's been a lot of fun working on that. And I've worked on some graphics. So I think I might have to show you guys some of the stuff I've been working on as well, just to see what you think. So that was my week. So Sans, what were you up to?
Well, in Dinkum, we visited Pine Leaf Island, and I gained the ability to eat 5 things, thanks to celebrating Pine Beach Day there. And so that was pretty cool. And then I entered year 3 on my island a few days later. So that was pretty cool, too. And then I planted some more trees and started a mine on the Minecraft server. And logged in for some ESO daily rewards and gained rep with Sharp for it, which was kind of fun and surprising to me. So I clearly haven't read up about what gives you rewards and doesn't.
What, Sharp likes dailies or something?
He really likes it when I log in and claim my daily reward.
Okay.
I don't know why, but he seems to really like that. Either that or he is anticipating that I'm about to buy more speed for my mount. But that seems weird that it would be an anticipatory gain in rep. So maybe he just likes that I log in with him active. I really haven't tested this. that's been my not super eventful week in gaming. How was your week, Greenleaf?
I'll begin with my warden who said farewell to Jajax. I finally was able to run that quest because it wasn't until last week where I learned that the farewell to Jajax quest existed. So I headed over to Stanglebed, the old version of it, and found that I had one character that qualified for it, so I ran the quest. It's not a super spectacular quest, but it's saying farewell to Jajax. The question is, will we meet him again? I guess we will have to wait till update 38 before we find that out. My lore master, I searched the waterworks for lost lore, and then I saw a vision in a mirror. And that is, of course,
Was that vision your own face?
Yeah, apparently said something about being in a tower with enemies all over the place. Something like that, yes.
Well, yeah, you're gonna. I figured you'd come visit Ploy's House pretty soon. So,
And then by Runekeeper, we ran some skirmishes. We also ran the featured instance. So we ran it at 4, so we did set that up properly. We only ran it at 4. We decided that was probably for the best with the group that we had.
show off.
And so we got through all that. We had this thing where he came to the boss fight, and it was sort of interesting how sometimes how this goes. The first time you run the boss fight, I guess because you're distracted by the challenge. So you're distracted by the challenge, something goes not quite right, and the thing collapses and you wipe. And then when you do it again and you don't have to worry about the challenge because you failed the challenge, then boom, the boss is you almost kill the boss
Instantly dead, yeah.
Yes. So that was an amazing one there. So we ran a few skirmishes plus the that here, which was the featured instance, and that was my week in LOTRO. If you would like to send us feedback, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. We have 2 live shows each week on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. And you can join us for our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Five Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.